It was an amazing experience. Why you should travel Moscow. A peaceful country and people are so warm.
Hello guys, this is the Grand Moscow Hotel and this is the view of the reception. So it's quite old but it's good. The breakfast even is good. We have a lot of choices. We are in Russia right now. This is my friend Sky, our business partner, and we have my boss. The subway. We are in our crossing. I hope I can tolerate the pain of my feet. Beijing. Is this a residential building or hotel? The temperature is currently -1. So though there's no snow, but it's quite cold. What a nice view. Hi. We're taking dinner. This is a Ukrainian restaurant. And this is their menus are international menu. What's the name again of the restaurant? Karchma. This is Ukrainian. So this is the name of the restaurant. This is a Ukrainian restaurant. Look at that. It started raining snow. See, snow is falling. They still have the big Christmas tree. Hi, how are you, all my fan? Today is an excited day because we will be roaming around scouting in Moscow, but we have our itinerary today. This is my by Shoy Tak.
Better.
By Shoy Tak Theater.
Better.
Yes, and I'm still with my Chinese friend, and of course, Vic is sitting in front. So we'll give you some highlight later. For now, just watch my OTD. It's not quite good, but it's so warm. Just reached in Bolshoi, and this is the views. It's quite cold because of the weather. It's like cloudy day today. So how to read this one? Bolshoi shop. So I want to introduce our tour guide. This is Miss Maria. Hello. Hello. This is how it looks.
It's located on the underground floors that were built during the recent renovation. The renovation started in 2005 and was finished in 2011. So during that renovation, a lot of underground floors were added to the Bolshoi Theater, but they are not located underneath the building itself. They're located right under the square. So if you saw those little glass houses right outside of the building, those are emergency exits from this underground part. And I can show you this picture here. So you can see this is the entire building of the theater. Right now we are right here. So underneath the square between the main entrance and the fountain. Also, additional part was built right under the stage, but we'll talk more about it a little bit later. So after they built this concert hall, there was immediately a problem that had to do with the nearby metro station. So all the sounds, all the vibrations from the metro station, they could be heard here. So they had to close it for 4 days to put soundproof materials there. But since then, there are no sounds from the metro whatsoever. So it's a perfect place for concerts, receptions, and mainly things like that, because it's pretty small. As far as concert halls go, it can fit around 300 people. But from each seat, you'll see everything and hear everything perfectly. So all the seats here cost the same, and they're pretty affordable. So the most expensive one is usually 1,000 or 2,000 rubles. So here you can watch concerts, mainly by the chamber orchestra of the Bolshoi Theater and opera singers as well. But this concert hall is actually pretty unique because it consists out of several platforms. Those platforms can be moved to form an auditorium like we're seeing right now, or they can be lifted up to the same level to form a completely flat floor. So if you see parts of the floor with matching patterns, those are the platforms that can be lifted up. And also take a closer look at the seats, because they don't need to remove them and bring them back. They're installed into the auditorium itself. So they just need to fold it forward. Then they hide first row in the second row in the third one, and then hide all of that under the ground. All the glass panels go down as well. And then when the platforms are lifted up to the same level, this is what it looks like. So it's completely flat, used mainly for receptions, press conferences, and also award ceremonies. But here you can actually see one more difference. So there's no wall, while there is a wall here right now. So this wall can be removed as well. It consists out of several panels attached together. So usually they need this wall for concerts to improve acoustics, but when they have receptions, for example, they just separate those panels and hide them on both sides. This makes this auditorium look a little bit bigger in size. So even though it's not that big, it has a lot of different uses. So they can have concerts here, receptions, award ceremonies, and even though it's pretty modern in terms of equipment, it's decorated in a very classic style. So it looks like an Italian, antique Italian concert hall. And if you take a closer look at the floor, at the patterns, you'll see lyres depicted all over it. So a lyre, it's not only a musical instrument, it's also a very important symbol for the Bolshoi theater, symbol of arts and of Greek god of arts, Apollo. And we'll actually see the depiction of Apollo in the main auditorium. So this is sort of a tradition in Bolshoi theater, in which in each hall that we'll visit during our tour, you'll be able to find at least one depiction of a lyre. And they continued this tradition here in the most modern hall. But there's still antique furniture here. You can see it on both sides, above and a couple of them on this level. So those are chairs that were originally used in the main auditorium before the revolution, so before 1917. After the revolution, new government started using Bolshoi theater as a place for political meetings. So they wanted to have more seats in the auditorium, and they replaced this sort of chair with a narrower one to fit more people. And only during the recent renovators, they made copies of these chairs, so we'll see copies in the main auditorium, but the originals are used here. Of course, they changed the material that used to be in them, because back then in the 19th century, they used horsehair to fill furniture, but nowadays, of course, they use more modern materials. But the wooden part is original, so you can take a sit and try out for yourself. You can, of course, walk around, take photos, ask me questions if you have any. You can go down to the stage, but please don't touch any musical instruments. And then when you're ready, we'll continue. So feel free.
This is the big theater.
You can see the curtain.
My God. How sassy it is. It's so beautiful.
Next time you come, we will The most important thing about this building is that it was facing Petrovka Street, so it was facing the same way where we were in the cloakroom and in the Beethoven's Hall.
Where the taxi? Yeah.
So Petrovka Street. That's why the very first building was actually called Peter's Theater, or Petrovsky Theater.
I
Petrovsky
see.
means Peter's. Originally, this theater was private, so Urusov, he bought the land with his own money, built a building itself, but he almost became bankrupt after that. So he didn't have any money to actually show performances. That's when he asked his friend Michael Maddox, who was from England, to help him out. And Maddox helped him not just by providing more money, he also managed to make this theater very popular with the Muscovites, and he even managed to earn some money, which was not very simple back then with theaters. But unfortunately, in 1805, there was a really big fire that almost completely destroyed the first building. That's when Yusuf and Maddox decided to give the theater to the state, because they couldn't afford building another theater. That's why since 1805, Bolshoi Theater is considered to be a state theater, not a private theater. But for almost 15 years after that fire, nothing new was built here. So in 1812, during the war with Napoleon, when the whole Moscow was on fire, Bolshoi Theater was not on fire because it burned down way before that. But of course, by 1825, they built a second building. I can show you a painting of it as well. So this is what it looked like. So it opened in 1825, and it was built by an architect, Osip Bave. Osip Bave was actually rebuilding the center of Moscow after the fires of 1812. And as you can see, he built a much bigger building. This is when people started calling it Bolshoi Petrovsky Theater. It means big Peter's Theater. So Bolshoi means big in Russian.
I see.
Even though Bave, he moved the main entrance, so it was facing Kremlin and Red Square. So the same way it's facing nowadays. Also, Theater Square, right in front of the theater, was built for the second building as well. And of course, Bave tried to protect the second building from any fires in the future, and he installed a giant tank of water right above the auditorium, so right underneath the roof of the building. And this was his plan, how to put out fires more quickly. But unfortunately, in 1853 there was another fire, and that fire started on the roof, so above that water tank. And unfortunately, because all the metal pipes became very hard to touch, it was impossible to let the water out. And eventually the water boiled and the whole thing exploded. So it caused even more damage, unfortunately. And this fire spread throughout the entire building, and it took 3 days to put it out. So unfortunately, everything inside burned down. All the musical are invited specifically for his visit. That's why we unfortunately won't be able to go inside of it, because the security there is very, very strict. But this is the main entrance, and above it you can see a monogram of Nicholas II, the last Russian emperor. So of course every emperor had their own symbol, their own monogram, but after the revolution all the imperial symbols were removed. So they only replaced this one in 2011, so during the recent renovation. And they chose Nicholas II because he was the last one. And you can see 2 Cyrillic letters there, and it looks like H symbolizes Nicholas. A in the middle symbolizes his wife Alexandra. And then you can see a Roman numeral 2 underneath. So it's Nicholas II and his wife Alexandra. Also, as I promised, we'll be able to find a depiction of a lyre in every single hall that we'll visit today. It's much easier to do it here because you can see they're everywhere. On the walls, above the entrances, on the windowsills. Even this lower part of the piano, you can see also shaped like a lyre. So there are more than 30 depictions here, but usually you can find at least one in every hall. And the windows here, they lead to the theater square.
Ah, like a harp.
So the view from here is really beautiful. But this hall, it has different names. Usually it's called main hall, second hall, but during the Soviet period it's called white hall because all the paintings on the walls were covered up with the so all the walls were white, and that's why it's called white hall. But during the recent renovation, renovators removed a layer of plaster and recreated original paintings that are painted in a very specific technique. It's called grisaille. So this technique, it creates this illusion of three-dimensional decorations, even though those are completely flat paintings. So they're painted on all the highlights, all the shadows in advance, and from a distance it looks really, really three-dimensional. So even if we look at this, for example, because there's a bigger distance, you'll see the sound louder.
If you come closer, the more louder is the voice.
So this effect was very useful for emperors because they could give a speech from the center without straining their voices, and everyone will be able to hear them.
Okay.
Because this is where they celebrated coronations of Russian emperors. The coronation itself took place in Kremlin, of course, but after the coronation they would come here to watch the performance and to have a reception in these 2 halls. So
During the oath taking of the president, he used this.
no, not presidents. He's in the Kremlin mainly.
And they
Not here. Sometimes he comes here with official visits, for example, with his foreign guests, about the fabrics and the embroideries on the walls. So here you can see both silk, red silk, and embroideries as well. And these embroideries, they were made specifically for the coronation of Nicholas II. So they were made in 1896. They made them in France, in Lyon, and those are organic materials. So it's silk embroidered with woolen threads. But unfortunately, during the Soviet period, the people who worked here, they didn't really take care of them correctly. They used chemical liquids to clean them, and that damaged the materials that were organic and natural. That's why during the recent renovation, renovators had to clean 60% of the fabrics, literally thread by thread. And here, in this embroidery, in the upper right corner, you can see a piece of uncleaned fabric, so you can compare what it looked like before the renovation, what it looks like after. So 60% of fabrics were cleaned, but the rest 40% unfortunately were impossible to clean. So renovators had to make new fabrics as well, and they decided to use a historical technique, historical equipment to make those fabrics. So because they decided to use that type of equipment, it took them an entire day to make just 6 centimeters of fabric. and they had to spend 4 years cleaning original fabrics and recreating new ones. Of course, new fabrics, they look a little bit different. So for example, if you look at this, very light, so it doesn't add too much weight to it, but it allows the tutu to keep its shape. And also here you can see several layers of fabric. Usually they go from 9 up to 11 layers of fabric, and you can see it's different layers. So several layers. So this wall was built in 1825. It's turning 200 years this year.
200 years. So this
Россия сопроводит посла Бразилию здесь. Мы реально я не видела только крайние билеты, знаешь, на каких-то откидных стульчиках, типа как тут такие были откидные раньше. И мне надо было занять какое-то место свободное, потому что после опоздания уже все считается, что место потерял. Если кто-то перестанет сказать,
And they consist out of two
imperial
parts.
box.
And they actually have their own separate entrance.
Oh my god, I can't imagine I was here. Oh, I see. So earlier we are sitting there. Yeah, beside the Imperial box. Imperial box is where the queens are sitting and all the guests. Oh my god, how elegant it is. The furniture. Wow, so nice. And behind that curtain, once it is open, the performer will be there to sing the opera and see the music instrument. Wow.
Building. So in 1856,
Yeah, 1956. There, above the door.
it is very deep, also very straight.
8 ton.
Those layers of fabric, some of them can be sound of moving surfaces around. When they change the scenery, no sounds are going moving. It's very beautiful. Because all the animals
So this is now the 7th floor.
we're going to the Kremlin.
Далеко-далеко.
Do you see that gold?
Ah, yes.
Photo?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
The two gold.
No, one
dome.
big, one big.
Один,
Dome.
вон.
Okay.
В Кремле куполов очень
The
много.
Kremlin has lots of them,
Ah,
Все
okay.
золотые.
and all are gold.
All are gold.
Красное здание закрывает Кремль.
So
Мы его не
this
видим.
building just cover Kremlin. That's why we can't see it.
Кремль
Ah.
это город, вокруг которого стена.
So Kremlin, it is a small city, and the wall is around all.
Очень сложно,
see.
потому что только сначала был 1 гектар.
So it was 1 hectare.
Mhm.
Потом
Ground.
вырос, стал 28
Then it
гектаров.
became, it grew to 28.
А
hectares.
потом людям жить было негде в Кремле.
And then
Город рос.
people, it was a city, real city. So the city was growing, and then people didn't have space to live.
И они начали жить за пределами
So they
Кремля.
started to expand out of Kremlin.
Где? Я сейчас покажу, где. Отсюда
And
видно.
she will show now.
Kremlin and Moscow before different cities.
А Москва и
Кремль
Кремль были разными городами раньше.
это одно и то же.
It's the same.
Только крепость, которую построили вокруг Москвы, назвали Кремль.
Only the fortress which was built around the Moscow was Kremlin.
It was the name of the Kremlin.
Oh, you speak English.
Yes, she speaks, but she doesn't want.
Ah, okay. Maybe she's not confident.
So we
say,
have to pay you extra for the translation.
She say that I'm like a dog. I understand but don't speak. You see this monument and then Red Tower.
Yeah. Oh, we see.
Красная башня.
Red Tower.
Yeah.
Это вторая крепость вокруг Москвы, которую построили в начале 16
So
века.
this is another fortress around the Moscow in the beginning of 16th. А я так не поняла, какая красная?
В сувенирных магазинах могут продавать
But
что-то
in
со
some-
словами, звуками, как
In
это.
some souvenirs shop, you can. So this is one of the. This is one of the Asian. It's very inside Soviet. It's still like so. Next time you will be there. Just to try.
So we are continuing scouting the Moscow. We're just following our tour guide because she can explain everything. She can explain well the buildings. What is this one? We need to hurry up. I want to oh, these are all luxurious cars. See? What is this building, Senia? What's the name of the building? Ah,
425 people working.
voila!
Doing the law.
Ah,
Okay?
I see. 400.
In Russian, Duma. Duma. in
Okay,
Russian.
okay.
Duma is called Duma in Russian. Duma is to think.
Ah.
So it's like thinking department, you know, think and doing the law. Here.
This is Kremlin, where the President Putin is working. See? Very nice building. And this is beside the Green Square. That is the biggest Orthodox here in Moscow. And this is one of the biggest library also. It looks like a palace. See, the Orthodox looks like a palace. Welcome to Kremlin. And this is the Red Square. So that is the place where you can buy the ticket. It's quite cold today because there is snowing earlier.
Because it's not logical what you're And then she said, okay, you go.
So you win, huh?
Yeah, I win.
Very nice. Wow. This is the Orthodox. So nice. Looks like a temple. But it's actually a temple. Biggest temple, and they call it Orthodox. Hi Moscow. The sky is freezing now. See that nice building? That is a cemetery for a noble person. How beautiful it is, and there's a guard. And this is the famous Bethel Church. It's a canyon, big canyon. This is the office of President Putin. See how nice it is. A lot of guards are there. Different kinds of canyon. 1672, 1679. These are the old canyons. This is the Red Square. I didn't proceed to go inside to see what's up there because I'm pretty much tired. There's a big walk in Kremlin. So my friend invited us for dinner in the ship, like do cruise in Dubai. It's so nice. And we have new friends. This is attorney Olga and my friend. And now we will be passing under the bridge. You can see a lot of people is here. Now we are under the bridge.